In the previous episode, our boy had defeated the martial saint in his dream realm, gaining his memories and the martial will. He also learned about an upcoming grand military competition. However, before participating, he decided to explore the cavern rift first. When he inquired about the consequences of entering the fissure, the response was unexpected as we continued the story. The four of them were stunned, unsure how to reply. Lu Sheng wondered if perhaps no one had ever tried before, but that wasn't the case. The girl, with a few drops of cold sweat on her forehead, seemed hesitant to share the frightening news. In fact, many had tried to venture into the fissure. However, none ever returned, leaving the question unanswered. Those who attempted to enter the fissure simply disappeared without a trace. The girl, looking serious, delivered some heavy news to Lu Sheng, revealing that even martial saints had gone missing. Did she just say martial saints? He thought, wondering if he had misheard. The girl continued, explaining that 200 years ago, each of the four nations sent their top martial saint to enter a fissure together. They completely disappeared and were never heard from again. This was a secret kept from the general public to avoid causing panic. Lu Sheng nodded and remained silent for a moment. Seeing his expression, one of his teammates quickly asked if he was thinking of entering the fissure. "You can't be serious! Even if we had 10 lives, it wouldn't be enough," one of them exclaimed. They believed that with Lu Sheng's current strength, venturing into a AAA level cavern would be relatively safe as long as he didn't go deeper than the 30th level. The girl, however, was more serious than ever, and even talking about the fissure filled her with fear. She warned Lu Sheng to be extremely cautious, as this was no joke. Taking a deep breath, Lu Sheng assured everyone that he knew what he was doing. Then, he leaped down, intending to gather more information about the fissure in the dream realm once he returned. Soon, the rest of them followed closely. The fact that even a 9th-level martial saint couldn't come back surprised him, but he didn't believe that in the vast history of 10,000 years, higher-level martial artists wouldn't attempt the same. He was convinced there was a significant secret hiding behind it. The massive cavern was filled with a faint black mist that floated up and down with the air currents. The group descended slowly along the cliff, encountering nothing unusual along the way. Lu Sheng asked the girl if there was anything else to watch out for besides the fissure. The girl thought for a moment and mentioned the martial maniacs in the caverns. They stopped at a ledge, where the girl explained that these so-called martial maniacs were martial artists who didn't belong to the military, but hid in the caverns to train. They used to belong to various martial arts schools, pursuing the ultimate martial arts path. Living here for years, and constantly fighting beasts, had honed their martial will and combat skills to a level often superior to those of military generals of the same rank. Their survival in this environment proved their immense strength, and those who managed to survive for years were beyond just powerful. Because of this, the military left them alone, allowing them to kill beasts freely in the caverns. Lu Sheng's curiosity was piqued. If that's the case, why should we be cautious of them? He asked as they walked slowly through the cavern, occasionally passing by some skeletons. The girl explained that these people had gone mad from their training. In their eyes, breaking martial limits justified any action. Drinking beast blood and eating raw beast meat were just the beginning. She paused, perhaps recalling some unpleasant memories, and then spoke in a low voice, revealing that they also resorted to cannibalism, believing that consuming the flesh and blood of strong martial artists would make them stronger. Even the word lunatics can't properly describe them, she said. Due to the lack of supplies, these martial maniacs often killed and robbed others who ventured into the caverns, even attacking military personnel without hesitation. To them, humanity was a lost concept. Lu Sheng began to grasp the situation within the cavern. The idea of cannibalism made him feel quite uneasy. Compared to Gu Xuan's way of killing, these people were far worse. Throughout their journey, Lu Sheng led the way while the rest followed slowly behind. They encountered some beasts, but they were weak and quickly dealt with. After another hour, they reached the 20th level of the cavern, encountering some level 6 and level 7 beasts. But to Lu Sheng, they posed no real threat. Soon, they arrived at the entrance to the deeper part of the cavern where the black mist grew thicker. The girl warned everyone to stay close and be cautious due to the limited visibility. However, Lu Sheng, revealing that he was a psychic master, assured them that as long as they stayed close to him, they'd be fine. To everyone's surprise, Lu Sheng suddenly inhaled a large amount of black mist, causing them to panic and ask if he was all right. He then explained that he was just conducting a test and the mist had no effect on him. It turned out that when Lu Sheng absorbed the black mist, his immortal stellar body instantly eradicated it. His body was too strong to allow any negative elements to exist. With the surrounding black mist cleared, their visibility improved significantly. Without missing a beat, Lu Sheng led the team forward. Above them, a creature clung to the cliff. The girl looked up and shouted a warning. "Watch out! There's a beast attacking!" However, before the creature could even get close to Lu Sheng, it suddenly exploded in mid-air. Seeing how these stealthy little bastards couldn't even get close made the team marvel at Lu Sheng's strength. "So this is the power of a 12-star general," one of them remarked. The bald guy gulped hard and mentioned that this was the first time seeing Lu Sheng use his psychic power. During the combat strength testing, he had returned directly from the battlefield without getting any rest, and still managed to achieve 12-star status at his most exhausted. The group nodded, following Lu Sheng. They had initially planned to fight alongside him, but it seemed they wouldn't even get the chance to join the fight. Another person let out a sigh, wondering how Lu Sheng got so strong. Compared to him, they felt like mere amateurs. To them, it might as well have been a tour of the caverns with Lord Lu Sheng, a rare honor not everyone could experience. Suddenly, the ground ahead crumbled, and a beast launched a surprise attack from below. The group quickly hurried to catch up, soon seeing Lu Sheng casually rubbing his wrist, or rather cleaning the blood off his hand, with a massive beast's corpse lying beside him. Standing on the body of the level 7 beast, Lu Sheng assured them not to worry. He was merely testing how to handle a beast without using any weapons. He instructed them to gather anything useful from the carcass before continuing. The team quickly got to work. Meanwhile, the girl wasn't surprised that Lu Sheng could kill a level 7 beast, but the smooth, clean cut on the beast almost looked like it had been sliced by a sharp blade. How did he do it by hand? Before long, Lu Sheng noticed several figures approaching them. The squad immediately put down what they were doing, drawing their weapons and preparing for combat. A group soon emerged, and the girl recognized them as the Red Snail Squad. However, they were covered in blood and in bad shape, with some members needing support to stand. The girl waved to them, and hearing the commotion, one of the men, looking quite scruffy and extremely tired, lifted his head and was shocked to see familiar faces here. They found a place to sit, offering water and supplies to the Red Snail Squad. The girl began to ask how long they'd been in the cavern and why they were in such bad shape. The captain shook his head, saying they had been inside for a month. Their team was nearly wiped out and had found nothing. He then asked with horror how deep they planned to go, warning them not to descend below the 25th level. His eyes were red as he explained that the martial maniacs down there had gone completely insane. They were relentlessly hunting military personnel, and in just a few days, 2 squads had lost all contact. He lifted his arm from under his robe, revealing a horribly injured limb, with massive bite marks and chunks of flesh missing. The sight of his arm, looking like it had been savagely torn by wild animals, was extremely horrifying. The captain tells them that the maniacs had collectively revolted and gone completely insane, chasing after the military and attacking them. They barely made it out alive and were preparing to report the situation back to headquarters. Hearing this, the atmosphere grew tense. As they finished resting, they prepared to leave. Before departing, the guys left them some supplies, and in return, the captain sternly reminded the girl to be careful. Watching the squad leave, the girl looked at Lu Sheng and mentioned that the captain from the Red Snail Squad was usually very cautious, suggesting they should. Before she could finish her sentence, Lu Sheng cut her off. He understood their concerns. As another beast appeared out of nowhere, he casually dealt with it and assured them, "Don't worry, they might not go deeper than the 25th level." Flicking the blood off his hand, he added with a confident smile, "Even if we do go deeper, I'll bring you back out the same way I brought you in." Feeling Lu Sheng's confident aura, the group's anxiety eased. Along the way, they easily handled any beasts they encountered. Lu Sheng led the way, killing beast after beast, while the rest of them cleaned up and collected the spoils. They soon reached the 25th level. Lu Sheng used his psychic power to scout ahead. He knew that with his current strength, as long as he didn't encounter level 9 beasts, nothing posed a real threat to him. This time, he wasn't planning to go too deep. He was looking for the mithril mine rumored to be in the area. According to the notes, it should be nearby. On a side note, that's a pretty cute bookmark he got there. His psychic power spread out, layer by layer, until he reached the 30th level. where he finally found it. Telling everyone to stay close, he dashed forward swiftly, slowing down only to ensure the group could keep up. The bald guy couldn't help but grumble, "I thought we weren't going down further." In no time, they reached the 30th level. The black mist grew thicker, but Lu Sheng cleared most of it away. The group knew that sticking close to Lu Sheng was their safest bet. Though still a bit scared, they gritted their teeth and followed. Suddenly, Lu Sheng stopped. Before them was a massive mithril mine. A level 7 beast nearby was swatted away by Lu Sheng. With a light slap, the beast was smashed onto the nearby wall. As before, the team quickly gathered any useful materials. Baldy spotted small chunks of mithril in the rock wall and shouted, "There's mithril here! We're going to be rich!" Lu Sheng smiled, and the others eagerly picked up the mithril scattered on the ground, their previous fears and unease fading away. The girl picked up a piece and noted its high purity. It seemed this mine was quite large. Everyone cheered, but their expressions turned greedy. Each person had different thoughts, as if they had already claimed the mithril mine for themselves. Their expressions weren't mere joy, but rather more sinister than ever. They even voiced their internal thoughts out loud. Hearing this, the girl shouted at them and told them to shut up, which snapped them back to reality. Baldy glanced at Lu Sheng, standing by his captain, and suddenly felt as if he had been doused in ice water. Recalling what they had just said, he quickly dropped the mithril and slapped himself. They all stood still, drenched in sweat with their heads bowed, and apologized to Lu Sheng. The girl approached and reminded them that they had done nothing on this journey. The discovery was all thanks to Lu Sheng, so naturally, everything belonged to him. The others nodded in agreement. Lu Sheng walked over with a smile, patted Baldy on the shoulder, and said he understood what was going through their heads. It was normal. The three of them showed expressions of guilt, but Baldy knew he was in deep trouble. His pale face forced a smile that looked worse than crying. Lu Sheng then began to gather strength in his palm. Seeing this, the girl screamed, "Sir, please don't." Then, a massive shockwave burst out, slicing through the surroundings in a web-like pattern. The pit echoed with a thunderous roar as large chunks of mithril ore tumbled down. Using his psychic power, Lu Sheng carefully collected the mithril, smiling as he turned to the others. "Why are you all just standing there? Y'all don't want this? Let's get to work." Hearing this, their eyes widened with surprise. It seemed Lu Sheng wasn't angry after all. The girl took a deep breath, relieved. Given their earlier behavior, the outcome could have been much worse with anyone else. Fortunately, Lu Sheng was forgiving. As they gathered the ore, they couldn't help but wonder why they had suddenly become so greedy, acting out of character and saying such shameless things. The girl urged them to stop muttering and keep working. After filling several large bags to the brim, they had no more room for the mithril. Baldy grumbled about how they shouldn't have left the supply bags for the Red Snail Squad. They could have carried so much more mithril. Another team member nodded in agreement. Listening to their conversation, Lu Sheng realized something was off. The guys' relationship with the Red Snail Squad had been excellent, but now they seemed to have forgotten their previous generosity and enthusiasm. This was clearly out of character for them, as they were never this selfish or petty. They hadn't acted this way before entering the 30th level. Could it be the black mist affecting them? Before he could ponder further, he sensed something approaching from all directions. If he listened carefully, he could hear them muttering something about food. Frowning, he realized these must be the martial maniacs. Sensing their approach, Lu Sheng could clearly distinguish the difference between these maniacs and ordinary martial artists from their aura. They were clearly consumed by madness. As they slowly got closer, their bodies covered in scars and deep, bone-revealing wounds, Lu Sheng remained unfazed. "Let them come," he thought. "It's better to face them all at once than risk being ambushed one by one on the way back."